can you walk us through your experience first day yang kau jadi as a prison warden, and where were you appointed to?
So the first prison that I went to, Tanah Merah.
Oh lama sih Tanah
TMB.
Merah.
So semua kat sana is hardcore.
Tapi back then kau dah tahu lah Tanah Merah ni macam a very hardcore
A bit lah,
prison.
here and there.
Okay.
The first thing aku nampak is diorang dekat yard.
Kau step fierce tak?
Tak, aku jalan macam belakang-belakang lah. Aku takut je.
Habis kat yard tu apa yang kau buat?
The first impression is like US ni prison kan. Kan diorang macam half naked dengan seluar pendek, tattoo satu badan. Badan dah macam manhunt ni badan.
Were they staring at you very cunning?
Diorang dah size you down lah.
Okay.
So I was like, what have I got myself into?
Hey guys, what's good? Welcome back in another episode with me, Hassan Rahman, in Ribik Podcast. And before that, this episode is sponsored by Shima Martin Bridal. So if you guys are looking to find bridal packages, you guys can WhatsApp us at 8894-7691. And you guys can also follow them at their socials, TikTok, Instagram, Shima Martin Bridal. The best part is korang boleh pakai promo code RIBIK100 to get $100 off for package to office and above in Shima Martin Bridal. Affordability at its finest. Okay guys, so aku Nari feel very honoured. Nari punya lagi unik aku punya episode. Aku punya guest pun lagi special sikit, because all this while I've been sharing with you guys, previous guest aku semua is all experiences behind bars. Even kita punya Maret episode, kita banyak pun share kita punya experience, you know, being incarceration, dalam boys home, dalam prison, DRC. But that is our point of view, our experience, our perspective. Tapi the good part lah, bila aku ni kalau selalu buat TikTok live kan, banyak orang yang aku jumpa, banyak orang-orang yang unik aku jumpa dalam TikTok live ni. And this time round, aku rasa korang pun dah baca title, korang pun dah tahu that my guest over here is actually an ex-prison officer. So aku pun tak nak higege, aku nak introduce kat korang my beloved guest over here, Ilyas. Apa khabar Ilyas?
Khabar baik saya.
Relax sikit guys. Dia tengah nervous lah. Dia tengah nervous lah. Prison officer tau dulu, nervous.
Terbalik, pasal selalu aku interview orang.
Oh, selalu kau interview orang
aku kena interview pula.
Aku yang patut nervous tau sekarang, kena interview.
Ada request lah.
Tapi Ilyas, aku nak really thank you for, you know, volunteering to come, you know, to share your stories with my listeners. From your point of view as a prison officer lah, because aku surprise yang kau dengar podcast aku. Kan macam, I mean like I've shared this in my previous episode juga. Like I also macam aku pun didn't know what my listeners market are, right? Like macam what kind of people who are listening to my podcast. But I do know that there's a lot of parents listening, because I do receive a lot of DMs. Macam anak aku macam gini. Dan macam in my previous guest, he was talking about academy. And then there's a lot of parents who reach out to me, macam mana nak join and everything here and there. But having you to telling me that aku nak share aku my story kan, as an ex-prison officer, aku macam say this one I also want to know. Because aku pun tak ada kawan. Aku ada kawan prison officer, tapi aku tak pernah macam tanya diorang in depth, you know, from their point of view, asal kau nak jadi prison officer. So this is where the opportunity for me lah to ask you. Yeah. And also by the way guys, kebetulan anak kita sama sekolah. Itu yang baru dapat tahu anak kita sama sekolah. Small world. Tinggal pun dekat aja kan. So jodoh lah Allah dah jodoh kan untuk kita berjumpa. Okay Ilyas, so I think before I touch on your service in prison kan, aku nak know more about you, your background before you join you join prisons lah.
Okay.
Yeah. So how was life back then before kau jadi prison officer?
Okay, growing up aku was like very studious lah, macam very nerdy, very macam kind of timid, small boy. Aku dulu kecil tau, kurus ke.
Okay.
Dah lah pendek. And then was like pergi sekolah, balik sekolah, that kind of very nerdy lah. Semua cakap bookworm tu tak sangat bookworm lah, but then macam okay lah, boleh belajar lah. You know, I was like in the express stream, everything. So never once in my mind that mana tahu like grow up jadi macam a prison uniform officer.
I see. Tapi back then bila time kau tengah sekolah tu, what was your dream? Kira apa career yang kau was looking at?
Oh, aku time sekolah aku nak jadi pemain bola saya.
Nak jadi soccer player. Itu typical punya tau. Tapi secondary kau join bola lah.
Kat luar lah.
Dia
My
kalau kau
school
join
that time
bola.
tak ada.
But you wanted to pursue lah.
Wanted to lah.
Tapi zaman-zaman dulu nak main bola, mak-mak tak kasih je.
Itulah. Tapi
Kan?
sebab tu kita selalu like macam main bawah blok. Sampai mak datang balik sekolah
tak
terus
nak
mak cari
kasih pesu tau. Tapi kalau famous, ni anak aku. Ini anak Zara aku.
Kira mak cari tau. Balik sekolah lambat. Kau tu pekik-pekik. Tak nak pekik.
Memang kau really minat into soccer lah.
So, yeah. But I was the eldest of 3 siblings.
Okay.
So macam my mum like more focus on me on pelajaran. So as an example to my other 2 siblings lah.
Nice, I see. Tapi percampuran kau macam mana? Because you are one of my unique guests where guest previous aku semua selalunya is salah campur. You know, it's the not say the wrong upbringing. It's just that the friends that they are influenced by to resorted them doing the wrong things. But for yourself macam mana? Is it you grew up where you have a good circle of friends atau macam mana?
Okay, growing up I was I was from Yishun. So
okay.
You all know lah, Yishun is
Yishun
like
bad things happen in Yishun orang cakap
kan? But
betul
then,
lah.
Alhamdulillah lah, my percampuran so far okay. Not so macam baik sangat, not so into like the other side. So I was pandai pilih lah, alhamdulillah.
I see. Pandai pilih as in macam mana? Like you had the option ataupun memang it's just that there weren't any bad circle of friends at that point of time?
There is. But then thankfully I was in the express stream kan.
Okay.
So yang that time primary school express
tak, primary school is EM1, EM2, EM3.
So still okay lah. I mean like back then in my school tak banyak sangat, but I know like my so-called my friends, brothers, abang-abang dia semua yang into all this drug taking, everything lah.
Faham.
But then tak campur lah. I didn't like, because basically I think my parents lah, my mom, they brought us well.
I see.
Dia macam selalu berpesan balik macam jangan campur lah ni semua.
Were your parents very attentive to you at that point of time?
Definitely.
I think that is also part of it, like make it macam, that's where dia macam so-called macam protect you also.
Yes.
To be doing the wrong things because the parents are very attentive
very
to you.
control lah, I can say.
Yeah. Tapi kau rasa control tu that point of time kau rasa irritated tak? Irritated tak?
Kind of lah. But then when I grew up, right, then Alhamdulillah for that, because it can go otherwise.
Yes, true. Correct. And the good thing also pun macam your parents didn't give up lah. Macam some parents diorang macam in the beginning aja controlling. Lepas tu tengok anak buat hal tu give up.
Thank God that my mom is a housewife.
Okay, faham.
So she was all the time there masak untuk kita, you know. Sampai dia ajar sikit-sikit pelajaran, but then she also send us to tuition, ajar ngaji ni semua.
It's a very good bonding between the families lah.
Yeah.
I see. But then growing up also, I think this is the part where when you mentioned that you wanted to pursue your career as a soccer player. Bukan nak pursue, cita-cita nak jadi soccer player lah. But after you have completed your O-levels, what was the direction back then?
Okay, my O-levels that time, I was actually O-levels I cock up.
Cock up. As in macam mana tu cock up?
Terpelewat sikit lah. I think one subject that I failed, that I didn't get to go to poly.
Okay, faham.
Because points dia tak cukup.
Okay.
So I ended up in IT. Instead.
Okay. But were you very disappointed at that point of time?
Very okay. Actually bila dapat result tu, actually tak nak balik rumah. I went alone.
Faham.
That time I was like tunggu result kan. I was working part time dekat Shell.
Okay.
So pergi sendiri balik, so macam tak nak tunjuk mak tau result. But then just do it lah. Dia cakap it's okay lah, dan don't give up lah. They ask me to retake the particular subject again.
Okay. Tapi masuk IT juga lah?
Masuk IT dulu lah.
Okay. Tapi kau tak rasa macam aku ni macam do you feel that at that point of time you felt that I shouldn't be going to this kind of school?
I felt so. Macam diorang kan cakap IT is like dah condemn, is the end kan.
Is the end. Back then dia punya stereotype dia tau. Okay.
Yeah. So long story short, then I managed to finish the IT. Then I also further to like another higher tech. But that one part time lah. I started lepas IT, I went to NS already.
Okay. Tapi before I continue further, your upbringing time kau secondary, you were in express stream.
Yes.
that's where of course technically that point of time the group of people pun kira macam budak-budak baik lah. Tapi ni ITE tau. Okay, I mean we
Actually,
being stereotyped.
Secondary school pun ada juga cerita.
Masih ada jugalah. But you still are wise enough to make options back then.
50-50 lah. I started smoking.
Okay.
In sec 2. Campur-campur semua. But then I think that's the only bad thing that I do lah.
Isap rokok je Lagi mak tak kerja tau.
Kena tangkap.
Tapi I think it's good. That's where your mom masih macam give you a chance. Still being positive lah. Okay, then tadi you mentioned about going to NS. So how was life back then, time NS?
NS, okay, I was in the army.
Okay.
So my posting was storeman lah. So relax.
Oh, okay.
Nothing, macam hari-hari boleh balik. So my NS life basically nothing particular lah. Nothing much into macam joining apa-apa ke, campur-campur.
Tapi at that age, you still haven't decide what you want to do in life. Am I right?
Belum. Actually, I wanted to sign on army.
Oh, okay.
Then tak dapat.
Tapi aside from signing on, do you have any career in mind at point of time? Macam you have plan macam okay, aku nak buat ni, aku nak kerja ni. Any career path that you were looking for?
Tak ada lah actually.
Tak ada direction juga at that point of time. Faham, okay.
But actually yalah, lepas NS tu macam kerja lah.
Decided to sign on tapi tak jadi sign on.
Tak.
Reason?
Oh, tak dapat.
You applied for it
tapi
tak
dapat.
I see. So I think comes to the question where how did you become a prison officer?
Okay, so the cerita is macam ni. I get to know this girl lah.
Okay.
Which is my missus.
This girl belakang kamera lah.
So that time dah kenal dengan dia. So that time I was working at this production punya company.
Okay.
So gaji rendah, very low.
Okay.
So wanted to move on the next phase lah, kita nak kahwin. So dia cakap with this gaji kan tak cukup lah.
Okay.
Macam mana? So apparently what she did is dia cerita kelakar. She get all my certificates semua. She do the resume, everything. She submit everything to me, for me.
But you tahu ke tak tahu that point of time?
Dah tak tahu.
Okay.
So she was like she submit to all the government ni.
Okay. Memang she intended to do only to
dia
government.
Actually dia memang nak orang uniform.
So
So she made a uniform out of me lah.
I see. That's sweet over.
Cerita kelakar dia.
Okay. Ini tak kelakar, ni sweet sih.
So yalah.
Okay.
So I wasn't expecting. Actually I was surprised when I got the call from prisons. Dia cakap can you come down for interview?
Okay.
I cakap prison. Terus I cakap okay lah. Then I check I ask my missus lah, cakap you apply for apa? I apply lah semua all the uniform lah, police,
kira macam
CND,
police. Okay.
So prisons nya dah call dulu.
Okay.
Cakap prison kau tak ada macam kenal siapa-siapa, macam blur-blur lah je.
When was this? This is in the 90s ke atau dah
16 years ago. So it was like
was in the 2005, 2006.
2006
okay.
2006 lah actually.
Okay. So bila prison call, then what was your reaction? Kalau kena aku prison call, aku dah prison call.
Juga prison recruitment. Tak ada dia tak cakap prison lah.
Sebenarnya prison recruitment.
So, okay, so macam okay lah come for interview. Tapi macam apa sih aku nak cakap? Aku tak tahu apa-apa. Cuma tahu that time diorang punya tagline itulah yang apa, rehab, renew, restart.
Something like that lah.
Aku
harap je duduk prison dulu.
Just buat homework lah. Tengok dia punya Google semua. Okay lah, just go lah. But actually when I find out that one of my friend pun prison officer.
Okay.
So tanya-tanya so dia cakap nanti di time interview dia tanya macam gini, aku just jawab okay.
So you memang eventually you got the job lah.
I got the job.
Just for that first interview terus dapat.
First interview, then after that they call me for another second interview.
Okay.
Then after that go to medical check up, everything lah. Kira dah confirm lah after that.
Tapi kau tak rasa nervous ke nak kerja prison tau?
Itulah.
Perasaan dia macam mana tu?
Kan.
Pasal kau tak pernah campur, like you're not involved in gangs. I mean like mixture wise pun I believe is not really that much of macam orang yang buat benda this kind. I mean ada juga tapi not really involved technically with the activities.
Exactly.
Kan. Okay. So what were you feeling that point of time?
Bila
dah dapat kerja tu, nervous ke?
Itulah. Then I first dah dapat je, terus first time I parents lah.
Hmm.
My parents, my mom okay, very supportive, cakap bagus lah kerja uniform kan, stable semua. Then my dad pun supportive, but then he also said something like, okay lah, kalau kerja gini jangan apa aniaya orang, jangan apa sakiti orang.
Okay.
Just buat kerja ikhlas je lah.
Pasal back then diorang cakap zaman dulu prison warden garang tau. Orang
Itulah,
takut tau dengan prison warden.
Cakap, makcik lagi satu dia cakap, okay, kau nak kerja ni, boleh pukul orang lah. Apa saya?
Masuk je nak pukul orang
Boleh kerja bantai-bantai orang. Apa saya cakap, mana ada zaman
Dalam
dulu
banyak
mungkin
gangster
lah
tau.
kan. Cakaplah aku badan kecil gini nak pukul orang. Orang semua badan macam mana kan.
I see.
So, okay lah. Then my dad pun also cakap something lah. Dia cakap kalau dia buat kelakar. Dia cakap kerja prison okay, then hari-hari kat dalam orang sampai dah keluar, kau belum keluar-keluar.
Dia make a joke Reid lah. Okay.
Kelakar.
Okay, faham. Ya, tapi dia memang selalu dengar macam gitu. Macam I did encounter this before. Kau dah keluar, aku masih kerja kat sini tau. Diorang pernah ada person so say that to me before. Tapi can you walk us through also your experience first day yang kau jadi as a prison warden, and where were you appointed to?
Can. First, okay, kita before kita start kita punya own prison school punya training, kita being attached, they call it attachment lah.
Okay.
So my attachment that time was like 4 months
to
different prisons.
Okay.
So the first prison that I went to, kau imagine kat mana?
Tak tahu.
Tanah Merah.
Oh, lama sih Tanah
TMP.
Merah. TMP okay.
So semua kat sana is hardcore.
Tapi back then kau dah tahu lah Tanah Merah ni macam a very hardcore
A bit lah
prison.
here and there.
Okay.
So aku can imagine because aku tak pernah ni kan picture myself there. So okay, the first experience is first kali kita dah masuk. The first thing aku nampak is diorang dekat yard.
Okay. Okay.
Can imagine.
Kau step fierce lah macam muka
tak,
ada.
aku macam jalan a few of us lah. Aku jalan macam belakang-belakang lah. Aku takut je.
Tapi diorang ada bilang kau okay, as a police officer muka nak kena
kita
garang.
nak kena macam don't show our fear lah. Just when they stare at you, you just look at them but don't stare back.
Okay. Habis kat ayat tu apa yang kau buat?
Okay, first kita jalan kat luar kan. So diorang macam aku nampak the first impression is like kau tahu macam US ni prison kan. Kan diorang macam half naked dengan seluar pendek, tattoo satu badan, badan dah macam semua manhunt ni badan.
Betul.
Habis ada buat pull up.
Okay.
Terus macam terus macam I was like, what have I got myself into? Should I continue or not? Betul, that one is the first thought macam
Diorang were they staring at you macam very cunning?
Lah.
Okay.
Of course, diorang dah kira size you down lah.
Because they know you are a new officer.
Correct. Diorang
okay.
tahu.
Okay.
So diorang macam that time aku rasa dalam hundreds of them dekat dalam tu yard.
Okay.
Kau just imagine lah.
Masuk je terus yard dia pula kau kena
dia
tempuh.
Dia kasih yard dulu.
Okay.
Dia kira macam test lah, kau berani tak berani. My during that batch pun ada satu terus tak jadi lah.
Oh, but first time masuk prison terus tak nak
dia
continue?
Tak jadi.
Pasal?
I don't know. Dia belah. Dia cakap I cannot. Tapi pada dia berang besar juga tau.
Tapi dia just tak nak continue
dia tak nak continue.
Then macam mana kau macam able to adapt with that situation and then still push through?
That time aku macam tak apa, just do it lah. Aku kat sini nak cari rezeki apa.
Yeah.
So itu je lah. My motivation is just to cari to find to stable job, that kind of thing.
Tapi can you remember kau punya first experience, the first inmate that you interacted with tak?
Interacted with
macam diorang datang kau masuk pangkat apa?
Datang corporal.
Ada tak macam kau ada rokok ke apa?
Okay, first experience talking to an inmate
macam how the interaction is with an inmate. Macam kau mesti awkward pasal kau belum biasa.
Time tu lah dengan attachment
time baru-baru tu.
Kita tak interact with the population. Cuma kita, I remember it's a cookie lah.
Okay.
So the cookie biasa lah, diorang manipulate, diorang kira nak both side apa. So diorang nak try to korek daripada kau.
Okay.
Dia tanya lah, macam mana, ni tinggal mana semua, umur berapa, dah kahwin ke apa, semua dia tanya lah. Kira dia interview aku dulu lah.
Dia yang berbual dengan kau. Dia yang berbual dengan kau lah. Tapi at that point of time bila kau masuk TNP, at that point of time I think TNP was one of the prisons yang banyak not say violent case, macam is there any high profile case tak at that point of time?
Of course lah, diorang sana kat sana all the CTs and PDs apa, the callers.
Oh, okay. Tapi kau tak ada macam, tapi are you like macam excited to know dia ni apa case dia ni bikin apa case
Masa tu tak lah.
Kau just mind your own business, doing your job aja
lah. Macam kau punya aku macam just amazed like dia ni dah duduk 10 tahun Lagi dia nak punya center lagi like 20 tahun kan, macam how can people like be here this environment for 10 years and going through another 20 years, that kind of thing. Aku macam wah tak boleh lah.
But how long dekat when you were on your attachment that you finally adapt to with your work?
Actually adapt after the trainings lah.
Okay. So that one is training dia berapa bulan?
Training itself is about 6 months lah.
So 6 months yang attachment dekat Tanah Merah tu.
Dekat Tanah Merah is only for a while only.
Okay.
Macam 2 weeks kita dah pindah-pindah prison.
After Tanah Merah kau pergi mana?
After Tanah Merah is tak salah aku pergi Queenstown Riman.
Ui, tu tempat puaka tu. Paling sakit
Betul,
kepala
betul.
duduk
Itu
sana.
pun,
Okay, Tanah Merah QRP mana pada kau environment lagi rabak?
Aku rasa QRP kot.
Betul lah, aku kena setuju. Pasal aku pernah experience dekat sana, it was very bad. Aku back mak
sakit
aku tau.
Aku first kat sana, kira so dirty sampai aku 2 hari je kat sana, terus aku sakit 3 hari.
Asal?
Tak tahu lah, macam
culture shock
the apa?
The aura,
disease,
yeah.
everything.
Okay.
Macam I cannot adapt to the
environment dia lah dekat sana.
Ya, rabak lah, kotor lah.
Pasal aku ingat first time aku kat sana at 16 years old, aku beg mak aku tau, beg bail aku. Aku tak boleh tau duduk sana. Tapi okay, bila kau dah baru that time kira dah macam quite familiar with
okay lah,
the chemistry
correct,
with this man. What were the macam for you as a police officer? Can you recall the first incident yang ada gaduh tak kat dalam?
Gaduh First incident gaduh, attachment tak ada lah.
Okay.
Bila aku dah posted, tu ada.
Posted tu kat mana?
Okay, first posting aku Sembawang.
Sembawang. Okay, Sembawang.
Sembawang DRC.
Okay. So gaduh dia gaduh macam mana tu?
Gaduh, okay, that time aku actually tak salah aku tengah night duty. So diorang just gaduh one on one dekat dalam dorm.
Okay.
So kita
kau tengah duty lah tu?
Tengah duty.
Okay.
So kita kena ni lah, respon ni lah.
Tapi kau tak boleh terus stop diorang lah. Kau kena do the standard procedure.
Kita standard procedure lah. The rest of the inmates semua kena out from the situation. Kita just control them. Tak boleh jadi macam judge lah. Just kasih macam instruction lah. Kalau diorang boleh turun lah. Kalau tak then just
okay,
lah.
aku pernah ceritakan this thing dekat aku my previous episode about chicken wing. Kau pernah chicken wing orang tak?
Pernah.
How was the experience? Aku share dengan orang experience aku kena chicken wing. Sekarang aku nak tanya as an ex-police officer, apa experience kau chicken wing orang?
Experience dia tak pasal kita we are being trained. So macam it's normal lah.
Tapi with your height, pernah tak kau chicken wing yang an inmate that is very very violent?
Very very violent.
Very very violent. Tengah violent tau tu. Tapi kau kena chicken wing dia, kau kena pin him down.
Okay, kita bukan go in satu orang kan. So it's in a team. Usually it's 3-man team. So diorang pun tengok macam size inmate macam kau kan. Tengok aku jadi headman, kau kena turun bawah lah.
Itu dah nak kena activate spear tau. Kira tau. Tapi I think okay, among all the prisons yang kau pernah kerja kan, are there any unforgettable punya event yang kau tak boleh lupakan kat dalam
prison Actually the unforgettable events is all bila aku dekat luar, bisa aku jadi what they call it, RO, integration officer.
Okay.
That is the most, macam bagi aku is the most fulfilling job that I throughout my career lah.
Okay.
So a lot yang inmate yang bahasa aku under my care, that open my eyes to what's the real situation it is. Pasal kat dalam kan is more dorang macam almost survival.
Okay.
Cap merah all this is all mundane lah to me. Macam kat luar dorang dah see the real world. That's where dorang macam the difficulties that they face is all real.
Okay.
So it's very different. Macam kat dalam kau tolong dorang is all macam basically request lah, pergi report sick lah, all this.
Pasal becoming an RO tu is bila kau dah banyak interaction with them, a lot of heart to heart talk with the inmates lah.
Betul.
That's why macam somehow pun kadang-kadang kau terbawa-bawa balik from that job, right?
Betul.
Tapi are there macam those inmates yang kau had trouble with tak? Macam diorang cari pasal dengan kau. Is there any occasion kau pernah tak lalui benda macam gini?
Ada sampai kat luar.
Oi, sampai kat luar? Ceritakan sikit tu sampai kat luar Cuba ceritakan sikit.
Actually aku tak tahu this thing that dia pendam tau, this guy.
Okay.
So bila what happens is at that time aku kerja dekat B3, aku dekat under workshop.
Okay.
So handle a lot lah, macam different all the categories and then all the races semua. Biasanya kau tahu kan workshop. So what happens is this guy, aku tak tahu lah pasal bila dia dah kat luar tu, aku that time kita dekat Tampines. Dekat Tampines. Kau tahu dekat McDonald's sana yang parking motor. So aku dah dengan wife aku lah dekat kita macam nak balik, nak start motor semua. Sekali ada dengar orang pakit-pakit lah.
Okay.
Hey, dia pakit apa?
Sarjan.
Sarjan. Lu kan gini kan, lu aniaya gua kan. Apa saja ni? Aniaya. Cakap siapa kau? Aku macam lupa lah. Macam lost kejap pasal dah lama kan. Aku tak ingat pun. Lepas tu dia macam, dia datang tau. Dia datang cakap, dia sebut nama ni lah. Cakap, kau kira favoritism dengan dia ni lah. Favoritism dengan ni baju lah.
Okay.
So, kau cakap, apa saya kau cakap ni berbual? Tak ada. Kau gini lah. Kira dia dah macam dengan dia punya sat-sat semua.
Dia seorang ke?
Dia seorang. Tapi dia a few lah. Tapi yang datang dia seorang.
Okay.
Time tu aku pun kira menggigil juga kan. Ini nak buat apa.
Tu time kau dengan siapa?
Dengan wife aku je.
Okay.
Kita dua orang je.
Okay.
So my wife dia kat sebelah, dia dah macam dia dah pegang helmet, dah capai helmet. Apa-apa dia kira dia dulu lah.
Dia nanti cikewing lah budak tu lah.
Terus kecil, ni siapa sah? Lepas tu cukup time aku rasa dia pun macam, aku tengah dia tengah trip lah. Aku rasa dia tengah trip time tu. Macam dia tak happy. Dia macam just want to make a situation scene kat situ. Terus aku macam buat bodoh lah.
Kau tak retaliate balik? Kau just lost lah
aku
gitu?
Aku terus buat bodoh. Aku diam je. Kau jalan. Aku cakap kau jalan. Aku tak layan kau lah.
Kau cakap kau retaliate balik juga dengan dia lah. But just that you try to.
Tapi dia tak dekat sangat lah. Aku cakap kau belah-belah. Aku tak nak ni. But can see dia macam very tengah high lah. Tengah macam very intoxicated lah.
Tapi memang that point of time, memang can you recall that kau ingat lah?
Tapi aku tak ingat dia siapa pun. Tapi like after a while pun aku tengok, pasal dia sebut this guy's name lah. Cakap, ni siapa? Ni kerja workshop lah. Habis kira dia tak happy pasal aku pernah charge dia.
Faham. Pendam sampai luar sampai kat luar Tapi tu time kau masih kerja prison lah that time? Masih kerja prison lah. Then how you react to that kind of situation? Do you
first
still?
Pasal aku tak ingat dia punya nama.
Okay.
But after like after a while lah, baru aku macam recall, I reported lah. Aku reported to Intel semua about this incident.
But after the incident, do you feel that your life is being threatened tak, being a prison officer?
Itu
Because kau akan takut apa? Benda ni akan jadi, or were you back then will try to be more careful when dealing with the inmates dekat
actually
dalam?
Aku tak takut. Pasal the thing is, aku punya, kalau orang tahu aku tak ada aniaya orang pun. Aku very macam fair. So call lah. That's what they say lah. Macam aku tak ada macam suka-suka. Kalau kau buat salah, aku charge lah. So terang-terang kau yang troublemaker lah.
But are there a lot of difficult inmates yang kau pernah deal with kat dalam? Macam lagi-lagi orang tua kan kat dalam kan?
Betul.
But what was your experience bila dealing with difficult inmates dekat dalam?
Difficult inmates dia kira macam mana? Situation dia macam mana?
So macam let's say as a prison officer, macam kau tahu kadang-kadang orang nak minta request ni, nak minta ni, nak minta tu, then they will come and annoy you.
Betul lah. Itu memang selalu lah.
Tapi is there anything kau tak boleh lupakan tak? Or maybe you can share some of the stories.
Actually,
experience.
ada lah. Dia more tu macam dia in between medical dengan kita tau. So macam they make it like so difficult for us such that macam nak request extra blanket lah, macam-macam gini lah. But this one is under doctor punya purview. Kau tak boleh buat aku. But doctor don't want to give me.
Okay.
Then what can I do?
Tapi ni inmate muda ke inmate tua ni?
Usually tour lah.
Okay,
Yang muda extra lah lain. Diorang nak check surat lah, apalah, this kind of thing dulu lah.
Tapi tak macam irritated
Irritated lah. 2 minit.
Pasal even for me as an inmate dulu kan, kadang-kadang aku macam just tengok budak-budak ni just nak keluar bilik, nak jumpa diorang punya PS lah, personal supervisor, just to nak berbual dengan diorang, tapi request benda-benda merepek. Minta pen lah, nak minta apa, tu lah extra blanket lah, complain teh tu tawar lah, apalah. Tapi among all the prison yang kau kerjakan, pada kau which prison yang kau enjoy working at?
I should say Selarang lah.
Kenapa Selarang?
Because kat sana I was in different postings in Selarang itself. First yang under the curfew monitoring, which is something new lah for me. Macam it's not dah benda yang kat dalam it's outside. Kau monitor dorang punya curfew, dorang punya tagging, timing semua. Then after that another place is aku punya buat urine test.
Oh, okay. Yang dia dah keluar from DRC program.
Program ada aku buat urine test. Itu to me is best lah.
Tapi kau pernah kerja Changi Prison lama? Tak pernah. So bila you went to Tanah Merah, you went to Sembawang, Selarang, so you were posted to Changi Cluster B lah.
After second year, third year in service lah, kita semua pindah to Cluster B.
And also don't mind me asking macam pernah tak macam kau jumpa inmate kat dalam kan? Do you have that macam sense of empathy towards them? Macam kau tengok macam kesian dia ni macam kita tahu that inmates diorang buat salah. Tapi as a prison officer that you see them coming in with different kind of cases. As a prison officer, do you have that empathy tak towards inmates?
This one depends on case to case basis lah. Kalau you want to say about empathy, kadang-kadang kita kat dalam dah terlalu numb dengan all this benda-benda nonsense like cap merah, all this. Kita sometimes we will lose that empathy. But then there are certain inmates yang kita tahu memang they deserve all this. They deserve like more macam touch base, all this. Then basically kalau nak cakap pasal empathy is more bila aku dah kat RO lah.
Oh yeah, because that was cakap tadi lah, it's more interaction with them, heart to heart tu.
Kat dalam aku menyampah tu actually, betul.
Okay, tapi before aku nak end this episode kan, aku nak sambung dulu because we're gonna take a break later on. Kau pernah tangkap inmate buat cap merah tak?
Banyak
Kau boleh kira tak berapa banyak?
Tak boleh kira.
Okay, nanti kau ceritakan benda-benda cap merah. Pasal kita pernah cerita dekat episode kita kan pasal benda-benda cap merah kan. Tapi ni kita main story kita buat. Tapi ni kau punya story macam mana kau tangkap. Macam kita rasa kita boleh outsmart. Kita macam ni warden tak tahu punya. Kita selisih. Tapi kita nak tahu macam mana dia boleh tangkap. Is it pasal korang ada spider sense ke apa ke? So nanti kita akan sambung. So korang stay tune. Kita akan sambung dengan Ilyas in the next episode. So before that, this episode is sponsored by Shima Mati Bridal. So if you guys are looking for a bridal packages, you guys can contact and WhatsApp us at 8894-7691. Don't forget to follow us also at our socials, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Shima Mati Bridal Services. Don't forget to use the promo code REBATE100 to get $100 off for package 2 outfits and above. Because in Shima Mati Bridal, affordability at its finest. Kita akan patah balik till the next episode. Kita take a short break. Settle.